All right, we're back again, still in the IGDN game room for another game jam from Gen Con 2024. This time I have Julian Kay of JK Games. We're going to game jam. Julian, start our timer.
Okay.
Now that you started the timer, we can discuss the game. What do you want to game jam about?
Let's game jam about communities.
Communities. Okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? What's that going to look like in a game?
I think when when I'm thinking of community building, I'm not thinking of the structures or systems, but just of the people that serve as linchpins.
Okay.
For various.
Okay. So
either
the first idea that comes to mind for that, and we can iterate and throw this out, but I'm like, you get a set of standard polyhedrals here. And we roll them to find our network of people, like who's connected to who. This is a potential network. Does that sound like a good way to start?
Yeah, it's something I did for Faith and Sales, where I had each group member of a ship is a die.
Okay. So are these
it's an idea I'm familiar with.
All right. So so I didn't properly grab. I don't think I got a D10 in here, and I got two D12s. So if that matters, or we can just go with whatever. Is that a So what would we do? Do we do the numbers? Is the position important? What do you think?
Well, I would think there might be two kind of ratings here. Like one might be the upper value of the die, the maximum value. So D12 might be the potential value of something, how far it can grow, as opposed, or how far somebody's either perhaps say ambition or their position, whether they have they have a store that's the center of a community, or a garden, or
okay, I like that.
A hostel, or
Yeah, so the D12s are probably going to be more like coffee shop and it's the coffee shop and like the post office where everybody's getting their mail and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the number would probably be their current standing, and it might represent if you have a high die that's very low, maybe it's having some problems, or maybe it's just starting up.
Right. So this is a new coffee shop that hasn't built its reputation yet because it's only a 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's next door to the 5-8. So what are some of the other? So what you're talking about community? So it's not the coffee shop. It's like the lady who runs the coffee shop. So she's the person she's like an older lady who has maybe moved back to town to open a coffee shop in the town that she grew up in, right? But she's been away for a while. Yeah. So it's kind of getting into that rhythm again. That's why it's only at a 3.
Yep.
All right.
And certainly if you had if we had just a big bowl of dice, what dice we had, the color or the might affect things.
Sure. That's a good idea. So
that's something we can represent here easily, but
we've got a few different colors, but so what is so we could do this as a activity where we built a community.
And obviously you could build a map kind of on this.
Exactly. Street grid, there's an outer ring road maybe, but what is is there a game, or is this we're building a story building sort of, we would describe all these dice and then we've created a town and then
it's a network. It's a question whether or not you're doing this as it strikes me as either something that's a story building thing, or something ancillary to a some type of wider system. I'm wondering if there is a way to put a bit more role playing in there.
Sure.
At the ground level, perhaps different players pick different dice to basically either take the role of.
Well, let's do something other than dice, because the dice are the townsfolk.
Yeah.
So we got these weird products sample manufacturing cards. We got tarot cards. We got this. We could tear pages out of the con book. Something else to interact with the dice in a different way. Do you like any of those options?
I do like tearing things apart. Okay. There is that. That it's always really tempting to do that kind of.
Let's do it then.
I forget what it's called.
So this is the first page that I came to. So my character is going to be Danielle, who she's just visiting here at the town. She's interested in trying out all the wine that she can find in the town.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to be here visiting the town.
So presumably we might be doing something like we're playing visitors.
Yeah.
And
that's what I was going with.
Tracking how our visit influences.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
The overall story and structure that we have here. Pam.
So who do you got? Explain who your character is.
Actually, let's go with Annika.
Okay.
And not do the person's actual name.
Sure. That's probably better.
It's a traveling entertainer with her puppet.
With her puppet.
Uh-huh.
This is
going from town to town. Yeah, and trying to earn enough to get to the next one.
Ooh, so like real low level there. Not
yeah.
not like a booked show, but like okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think. So before we do the interactions, we should try some interactions with the town. I like this idea, but are we going to do like a chance mechanic to see if we affect things, or will it be purely narrative how we feel that this affects the town as we begin to interact with it?
Yeah, because like the easiest, the simplest thing to do would just say, I do something and we roll a die, and then we come up with a story about how things go up or down. I'm trying to think if there might be something a little more novel.
So is there, maybe
you could, well,
I was going to say something about like, I mean, this is sort of like against the spirit of the game perhaps, but is there like a conservation of dice where it's like these ones that are on 1, they can't go any lower, but this one that's on a 9, this could go down, but if we put this down, then we could move one of the other ones up. So it's like you have to change 2 things at once. And you kind of explain how you interact with the 2 different groups to make one up, one down.
I was already thinking almost maybe having like a slight reflex mechanic where you're rolling one die at another or something along those lines.
Oh, you're
like if I picked up this and tossed it at that. And of course, obviously that didn't move, but this changed.
But it changed slightly. I mean, I am all for a dexterity element in a like role-playing game. I think that's fun and interesting. So
that's pretty much the whole of when I did Skate Punk, my little 1-page skating game. So
all right, so. You demonstrated that, so do you want to explain why we haven't defined who these characters are yet, but you got a D6 just went up, but didn't change the D10 very much. So what was that interaction with your traveling puppet show person?
Maybe she, I'm trying to think of the exact like metaphor, but created some connection between these 2 that didn't exist before.
Okay.
Perhaps by visiting one and the other, and since we don't know what we're working with here, but
you get to define it. I think.
Like if say we have like the tool, the guy that owns who is like a craftsman. Goes to let's say this is like the town center town garden, which is overseen by an older person who's been overseeing it for or perhaps a younger person who's their family's just overseen it for generations.
Ooh, they grew up at the store.
But traveled from one and went to the other and essentially discussed what she had seen. And that made them think like, oh, I could do something with one of the plants here, in my crafts. And that gives them a little bump and a little idea that might lead to something more.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to narrate a scene where Daniela is going to, I think she's in town for a event, like a wedding type thing, right? Yeah. And I think it's like this is a D10 that's on 9, so it's pretty high rep, pretty high importance. I think this is like the local priest, not a Catholic priest, like an Episcopal priest, so like got a family, right? Yeah. And so like it's one of the priest's kids that's getting married, and this is like a family friend or something like that that's coming in for the wedding. So like the event is taking place, like the garden party taking place at the like fancy house that the priest guy has. Mm-hmm. And I think this is going to affect I think this is some sort of market stall outside the house. This is the best hot dog stand in the town. That's why it's at a 4, low rep but high rep but low impact, right? Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to roll the D10 and see what kind of changes have happened here at the thing. All right, well, it's rolled way over here, so I don't know if that changes our map, but like I think
it's a stall, so it can go around.
Sure. Well, this was the priest guy, so I think
priest. Right,
I think the priest guy. Okay, so I think what's happened is like that the on the way in from town, Daniela saw something that she informed the priest guy, and he needed to leave town, so his rep has gone down by 1 by ending up leaving the party that is for their own child and has gone to attend to some priestly duties.
Okay.
I think that's changed the situation a little bit. But it was prompted by like the presence of the attendance at the garden party. I don't know. I'm not sure that we've made a good, compelling narrative yet, but I think maybe we could. Does it feel? Do you want to do another round now, or do you want to see? Do we need to tweak what we're doing with the design here?
I think we want to tweak a bit. Yeah. I think one of the challenges that we're facing, is that hitting a die with another die often doesn't cause it to turn.
Right, it doesn't.
It's much like there was a design I worked with where I wanted to have you be able to tip an 8-sided die back and forth, only they're not consistent, they're not,
Yeah. So what would we, if we do for another round, would we manually change the die, or would we, maybe it's like, maybe you're any dies that are near each other, you can move, and then you could roll both die and reposition them or something like that?
Yeah.
To have a more dramatic, like, interaction?
Yeah, having rolling 2 dice at once definitely seems like it's...
Right. But it's almost like prompting, like this die is separate, like what is too close, but like if these 2 dice are not together, you're like, I'm going to move one to here and move the other to here. Yeah. Or if these 2 dice are together, you could separate them. So it's like you're having ability to manipulate more dice.
Yeah.
Do you want to do another quick round? We only have a few minutes left. You want to do another quick round so you have a little bit more impact on the town?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to go first again?
Yeah. Just grab that.
All right. So we know the person at the coffee shop. Oh, it's gone up.
Yeah.
Rep is going up at the coffee shop. Mm-hmm. So what was the other person? That wasn't defined yet. So what was that?
Defined. Let's call it like the 2 guys who just always sit around and play chess.
Nice.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So what was it?
Annika.
Annika? What did Annika do that changed this situation?
Probably saw them kind of drooping a bit and went and actually got coffee for them and brought it out to them.
Nice.
And that actually made them realize, hey, this is a good place. And not only will we go, but we'll tell other people.
Right. All right. I like it. I like the big D20 here. I'm going to say that this is like the mayor, another important person, but it's on a 2 currently. So the mayor has... a small town mayor is usually like, there's a feud going on. Something's made the mayor not popular, but they've got a lot of power.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try and change that dynamic somehow. I think that, have we not defined any of them yet? I think maybe the 8 hasn't been defined yet. So let's see, the mayor is going to go visit the 8. I'm going to put these 2 together. And, all right, so the mayor has gone up, but that cost the 8 a lot of rep. To unite over there. So I think this is the 8 I think is some sort of like the newspaper. I think it's the newspaper in town. So like the newspaper person has had to do something, but it's given the mayor a little bit more rep because it landed on a 4 when I re-rolled. And how is Daniela involved? So I think this was... Because I think she's got a little bit of like busybody quality about her, like going around and investigating things and like, oh, I'm here for the garden party, but like, where's the best place to be? Oh, do you know the mayor? Can you introduce me to them? And so then I think there's like, it's like an emerging scandal, I think, because this person is kind of like pushing the envelope a little bit, and so then that results in like the mayor having to go like get the newspaper to kind of clean up the fact after the fact. So I think there's some accidental busybodying going on from Daniela that's changed the situation on the table. Yeah. All right. That felt more dramatic. The 2 dice at once. So we only got 12 seconds left. So I think that's all the game design we're going to be able to do. So, unless you've got an idea. Well, one more idea?
One more idea is that if you had a heavier object, one thing you could do is just roll it through there.
You could roll it through.
Like if you had a heavy ball bearing or something.
Sure.
Being careful with the table and all that.
Right. That's good. All right. So, I got my 3 questions that I like to ask as a debrief. So, what about this design needs work most next? Like, if we had more than 15 minutes, what would we do? What immediately is we don't really still have an end state, but what are you thinking is what needs the most work so far?
You could probably have just an easy prompt that tells you, a list that tells you, what they are, based on either the roll and die type.
Yeah, a chart for defining what these are.
Yeah, and maybe even based on the roll, the specific roll as well.
Yeah.
And that gives you easy. And of course, you'd want either post-it notes or index cards to track.
Right. You'd want to play with things.
But if you're doing different colors, at least that lets you more easily track them too.
All right. So what about what we actually did do, this whole process, the potential, what has you excited about that as someone who designs games?
I think it's really neat to come up with something that quick that tells kind of these little small stories, that often, there's a lot more games that are touching upon that kind of thing these days.
Yeah.
But
it's not all heroic fantasy anymore.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting to get thinking about how communities interact.
Yeah, I
and
really
how
like
that might impact your own personal community as well.
Yeah, I really like that that was a great way to start. All right, so last question is, should we develop this more? Is this a one-off, or is there something here?
I think there's something here for probably either a 2 or 1 or 2 page game, or even a pamphlet I did for Faith and Sales.
Sure.
It feels around that size. I don't think you want to make it too big.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, if we do develop it, maybe you'll be putting it out somewhere. Where can people find games that you already have available?
Well, most of my catalog is at j-k.games. That's the main page for JK Games. You can also find my stuff at Indie Press Revolution, and it shows you can find them with the Indie Game Developer Network.
Nice.
I've also got some of my stuff is available through Exalted Funeral, like my Mutants in the Now game. But it just depends on what they decide to pick up. So
That's right. Well, thank you for spending some of your Gen Con game jamming with me. It's been really fun.
Yeah.
And thank you to all the people who watched the video for watching.
All right.
We'll see you in the next one. That was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. It was
welcome.
great. That was a really neat idea. I really like that.
I didn't know I was in for it when I sat down. So